Hey, good morning, everybody. We're going to go ahead and hop right into it and call this meeting to order. This is the Subcommittee on Education Appropriations. You should have your tracking sheet already. Are we good to go online, Sarah?
I think Molly's about to. I think she sent it, yes.
Okay, great. And what I'd like to do before we get going is a thank you to the entire budget staff, but a special thank you to Sarah and Molly. So thank you so much for all the hard work that you guys have done. So bringing your attention to the tracking sheet, I'm going to go ahead and get going. And let's just go we'll hold questions until the end if you don't mind. Turning your attention to 22.1 Child Care Services, you'll see we're increasing the funds for CAPS. This is to provide assistance to low-income families for the cost of child care. That's to the tune of $3.5 million. That effectively is an extra 625 slots. Second, bringing your attention to 22.3, the pre-kindergarten program, .3. We're increasing funds for pre-K classroom ops by 2.5%. That represents the first increase since fiscal 2010, and that will be in the amount of just over $1.7 million. In addition, in .4, we're providing funds for one pre-K specialist, and that will allow us to maintain a quality program working directly with the lead and assistant teachers statewide, and that's just a little bit over $81,000. If you can, please turn to Agriculture Education 24.1. Please note, .1 is basically an adjustment that you're going to see throughout the tracking sheet to increase our employer share from 1906 to 19.81, and that is about $36,000. I won't repeat that again, but please note you'll see that a few more times. In .3 and .4, these were both in the fiscal 21, but had to be cut for budget purposes. The first one is increasing the funds to offset the austerity reduction for the area teacher program, extended daycare, young farmers, and youth camp, and that's just about $600,000 at $589,000, and also to provide funds for 5 young farmer positions in Baldwin, Fulton, Pickens, Ware, and Worth, and that is $425,000. Moving on to charter schools, 24.4. Bring your attention to .3. Right now, the base is 3.5. We're going to go ahead and add another $1 million to that per HB 430 in 2017. Moving on to curriculum development, 24.6. This is purely a transfer in .3 of the Georgia Bio contract from the Rural Teacher Training Initiative to the Curriculum Development Program. Please note in 24.22.4, you'll see a corresponding entry for a negative 323, so I just want to make sure that the committee knows that that's merely a transfer. Moving to GNETs, 24.8, there is we have to do a formula true-up because of the reduction in enrollment, and that is $3.388 million. Moving to 24.10, Information Technology Services, to .3. This is for a pilot program to provide access to STEM and AP STEM virtual courses to students in rural Georgia, and that pilot program is going to be $75,000. Moving now to the Department of Education, Section 24. I want to skip .1 like I noted before, go to .2. And this is basically restores the reduction and adds $250,000 to the feminine hygiene grant. So the delta is $950,000. The base is $300,000 for a total of $1.25 million. In .3, you'll see that we are doing to the residential treatment facilities, restoring partial funding. Please note that with the CARES funding, even though there's a reduction of $268, CARES funding basically brings that to zero, and that is noted in .6, 24.11.6. In .4 for the sparsity grants, that's a formula true-up of just about negative $250,000. And finally, we are providing funds for the residential treatment facilities budget analyst and grant manager. This position was vacant in fiscal 21. We bring it back for $125,000. Moving to 24.12, nutrition. In .3, you'll see we're increasing the funds for school nutrition, and that's for $5 million. In 24.13, preschool disability services, this is a formula true-up due to a reduction in enrollment, and that is nearly $5 million at $4.943 million. In 24.14, pupil transportation, this is increase in funds for transportation grants, and this is a formula true-up of nearly $180,000 at $179,152. Now moving on to QBE Equalization. In dot 1, we have a formula true-up. You'll see versus the governor's recommendation, it's not far off, but it's off, and we want to make sure that we noted that. Hold on, my apologies. In 24.16, the 5 mil share, again, we have a formula true-up, and please note it is slightly off of the governor's recommendation, so we wanted to be able to note that for the committee. In 24.17, the QBE program, here is where we have in dot 1, again, is that same adjustment that I noted before. In dot 2 and dot 3, I'd like for you to pay special attention to that. If you look at the governor's recommendation in 2 and 3, you'll note that that basically nets to the negative 52 that you see for us in dot 2. So this is a formula true-up for us, and we wanted to make sure that we were able to correspondingly provide that. In dot 4, this is for the charter grant system, the charter system grant, and this is again a formula true-up of a little over $22,000. Next, in the State Commission Charter School Supplement, here we have a formula true-up, again, slightly off of the governor's recommendation, but it needed to be noted, and you'll see that as a little over $35.6 million. And then finally, in dot 7, please note that this is for the differentiated pay for new certified math and science teacher, and again, a formula true-up for 2631, our 2,631 teachers, and again, just slightly off of the governor's recommendation. In dot 18, 24.18, the RESAs, please note the dot 1 adjustment, and then also moving on to dot 2. This is a formula true-up due to enrollment decline, and that's at a negative 162,941. In 24.20, the State Charter School Commission Administration, the commission can reserve up to 3% of the state charter school earnings, and that's reflected here to the tune of about $2.75 million. Moving on to technology career education, 24.22. Again, I'll note point 1 or dot 1. Moving to dot 3, this again is to offset the austerity reduction, and that's $840,000, or a little over $840. And then recall the Georgia BioEd program. I asked you to recall the positive 323, now the negative 323, to acknowledge that transfer. In 24.23, in testing, this is to provide funds for a pilot program for computer science principals AP exams, and that is $250,000 at $250,000. If I can move your attention, please, to 25.3, Public School Employees Retirement System. This is an increase in funds due to the multiplier moving from $15.50 to $15.75, and this is accounted for by the $1.6 million adjustment. 25.4, I just want to make sure that that's a note in there. You'll see on the 0, but basically a one-time benefit adjustment for the 13th check. Moving on to Section 27, Office of the Governor. In 27.6, the Georgia Professional Standards Commission. 2, in dot 3, you'll see we have increased funds for personal services to meet the program's needs of Ethics Division and Education Prep. Basically, what we're trying to do, everyone, is keep our teacher certification efficient, and then also make sure that we handle the backlog in ethics, and that's a little over $140,000. And then also in dot 4, the Troops to Teachers program has been successful here in Georgia, but the federal government has decided to stop funding that as of May 1st, so we're going to step in and pick that up to a little over $197,000. In 27.7 in GOSA, you'll see in dot 3, we're increasing the funds for the Growing Readers program for $100,000, and that's basically to help kids get better reading scores by third grade or improve their reading capabilities. And then finally in dot 4, the School Leadership Academy, and that's for current funding for aspiring principals and principals for $150,000. That is the K-12 education budget for appropriations. Does the committee have any questions? Anyone online? Okay, the chair will entertain a motion. I got a motion. I have a second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Online?
Aye.
Okay. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. We're adjourned.